Hello everyone, how are you? Sorry for getting the today's video is late. Actually, I was stuck in some household chores. So let's start the today's editorial. Before before forwarding to the news, let's have a small recap. So today we'll discuss about the front page about the diaspora's history. Second one is about the AAP chief elections in Delhi. Third is about the wildfires raised in the Los Angeles. Fourth one is about the science related science and tech news about the sixth generation aero engine and the human genomics from 83 population group. PM to open the Zedmore tunnel, and there was a urine carbide waste in the disposal plan in Pitapur. Sixth one is there is a two editorial. One is about the accessibility rule that based on principles. Seven is about the section 152 of Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita. Eight one, eight one is about dual citizenship opinions, writer's opinion, and ninth one is the damage control of small corner news, winter contest, and damage control. So let's proceeding to today's news. The today's editorial analysis. First one is about the Modi calls for the documenting the history of diaspora. The viral pictures of the foreign minister S. Jayasankar and Narendra Modi. So it was addressing the Pravasi Bharatiya Divas event in Bhubaneswar. The PM lauds the journey of person of Indian origin and highlights their remarkable achievements in the highlights country global's rule. So it was the person of Indian origin across the different POI across the different eras to the various countries, the remarkable achievements, contribution to societies they become a part of. So Narendra Modi called the Thursday documenting the history of diaspora. History of diaspora. So addressing the Pravasi Bharatiya Divas, history of Indian diaspora across the globe, their journey to various countries, the remarkable histories, stories of success, unique part of Indian heritage. Basically, it's our Indian culture and heritage that have a great diasporas, leading a unique part of Indian heritage. They represent the shared legacies and cultural heritage. So, have a world in turmoil due to war across the globe emphasizes the future lies in Buddha, a symbol of peace. So rather than a war. So the right here in Odisha is a place named Dholi, which is a great symbol of peace. Emperor Ashoka also rises here, chosen the path of peace. Instead of when the world was expanding empires through the power of sword, the strength of heritage is inspiration of India. That we can say that the empire inspiration of India said that world today that future lies in Buddha, not in war. So the pace of 21st century was just advancing in just a decade. The country has lifted 25 crore peoples with the world 10 largest economy to the 5th largest. How's India's economy rising from the 10th to the 5th largest economy? So it won't be long before India secures its position as a third economy in the world, Mrs. Modi said. So it was an initiative of growing global economy role that strengthened and achievements and the prospectus of prime ministers not only but strongly implies the global south. So the world patiently listened to what India says. So the global south already the India is a leader of the global south countries. Basically the global south countries that countries which is in the developing phase, that they just become in their developing phase. Global south, basically you can say that the Africans country, the South America's countries, all are the global South countries. So moving to the one is same-sex marriage. SC reject the review of judgment. So here was this court, the bench of Supreme Court headed by the Gavai on a Thursday rejected the petitions on 23 judgment to legalize the same-sex marriage. The judgment was delivered by Justice S. Ravindra Bhatt, former judge speaking, and Hima Kohli, as well as opinion expert by expressed by the Justice P.S. Narasimha, enduring the majority view apparent to the face of record, and the petition was decided via circulation of Chamber of the Judges. Basically, it was the same-sex marriage. The SC reject the review of judgment. So India's bloc picks up over Congress for Delhi polls. Here the Delhi Assembly has triggered the unexpected crisis for India bloc. The Samajwadi Party and TMC has extended unqualified support to Aam Aadmi over the Congress. The Shiv Sena UBT is also leaning the favor of the ruling party. There is symbolic best that seems the insignificant electoral in Delhi. However, the action and signals has a wider, and Chief Minister Omar Abdullah, who chose the party national conference, has refused to pick the sides. So let's moving to the second one is about the same continuing from the first phase, like AF chief writes to the election commission Parvez Singh House for violating the election codes. They are just making allegations toward each other, the opposition parties. Kejriwal claims his BJP opponents from the New Delhi that was disturbing 1102 women's demand the suspension of district election officers, and EC directs the chief electoral officer to take actions. So here the chief election commissioner is CEC requesting to raid because of his opponent candidate New Delhi Assembly Parvez Singh Sahib claimed that 1100 each two women in violation of model code of conduct, and it was district election commission that he was make a complaint that they are just giving there's a violating the elections code, etc. Whole editorial is written about this. Nothing more important, but just for knowing the news I have just added. The important one is that the wildfire rages out of the control near the Los Angeles, killing at least 2. So you can also see here that not only there is a forest fire, wildfires in the India region also, but also there is this happens in Los Angeles also. So how there is basically the causes of forest fire are the many reasons. The reasons which some are identified, some are not identified. Basically, some forest fire we see that there was just which can be seen, like what are the reasons of the cultivations, shifting cultivations, landslides, and also the climate change is also a reason. So here there is a 2 people killed here, and the 2 people killed as several fast-growing wildfires raged out at the control on Wednesday near the Los Angeles, destroying the scorching hillside and evacuate the 70,000 people here. 2 people killed here. The fierce winds were hindering the firefighting efforts, and fueling the fires expanded the embedded since began. The biggest blaze consumed at 5,000-acre Pacific States. Acres in Pacific Palisades, a picturesque of neighborhood in the West Los Angeles country between the here the geographical, you say that one geographical question is that neighborhood West Los Angeles country between the town of Santa Monica and Malibu, that is hometown of many film. Los Angeles is always you can say the Hollywood city. So more than 1,000 structures have 2,000 acres burned, some 50 kilometers inland in Altadena. Just remember these all locations. Maybe locations can be asked as geographical questions Altadena near the Pasit- uh, Pasadena. Two fatalities were uh, reported, though the officials said they do not further detail. Like the hustles in Salomar in San Fernando Valley, northwest of the Los Angeles, exceeded 500 acres, and all three fires were 0% contained, officials said. So the high number of significant injury has occurred among residents. We do not heed evacuated orders, so their minds were frosted and persisted throughout the day. All the flames spread. Residents began evacuated. The people abandoned the vehicles here. The California governor Gavin Newsom declared state emergency. President Joe Biden planned to visit a San Monica fire station. What was that police station? Is San Monica fire station, not police station, it's fire station, for a briefing from officials. And President Donald Trump was taken the office 2 weeks, blamed Newsom environmental policies for disaster and truth in social websites. So now moving to the next, covering one the science technology specs. So there was a news about the releasing the compilation of 10,000 human genomes from the 83 populations group. Genome India, the database research world, it will serve the template of investigation into disease, drugs, therapy, says the PM, strengthen the biotech economy. India has completed a man-made available year-long compilation of 10,000 human genome, out of which 83 population, about 2% of the countries, and 4,600 population groups will have served as a template for a future investigation. The Genome India database is known to be available to the searcher across the world. First analysis of the genome was 27 million frequency, with 7 million of them are not found in similar reference. So the higher different version of the same gene. Basically, here was the about the database of the variety of the purposes, including estimating the diseases. Basically, identifying the human genomes, we can further know about estimating the disease risk, the adverse drug, the DNA profiling database, because these references help in to study the diseases. Discovery of Genome India not just scientific; they hold a potential for targeted clinical intervention, also advancing the healthcare medicines for better healthcare. It was said by Union Minister Science at the event here to announce the project. So the researchers wishing to access the genome must be accessing the genome, so that we have a proposal pursued by the independent, so that we have some though sharing and privacy policies to the data of population groups. Secondary, they're describing the project historic. Narendra Modi said that the paved the way of strengthening the biotechnology also and economic as well as biotechnology based manufacturing. So it was the Thangras of the Centers of Cellular Microbe Hyderabad project leaders. Here the news about the 6th generation aero engine that can be developed, trying up the foreign firm DRDO chief. The way which India get a 6th generation aero engine and other technologies required by the co-development with a ring manufacturer. About the chairman and DRDO Defense Research Organization, Samir Vikant. Yeah, remember the name, DRDO chief. Chairman of the. So there only is a 5% defense budget for research. We already studied that economic survey and the budgets. We hear there is a 5% of defense budget for research and development, which need to increase to 50%. They realize the capability that he said country will have invest close to the $4 billion and $5 billion, that is 40,000 to 50,000 crore. And his remark comes as a huge delay because the development of indigenous fighter. There is a backdrop. While China made the rapid progress in this area, and there is and if we do in the term of technologies, the first priority is to the aero engine. So we can have demonstrated the 4th generation aero engine for our fighter aircraft, and we need a 6th generation aero engine so that the weight ratios exceeded. Sorry. So we can have a aero engine only, we can see the foreign means foreign original equipments manufacturing, and these need a more budget in the for the defense and areas, 50,000 ton and so on, that which would need investigating the forge presses which can press to 50,000 tons and so on. So moving to the next. So PM to open the Z Mora tunnel in the year Kashmir Ladakh corridor. So there is a Z Mora tunnel. Wait a minute, just. So there is a Z Mora tunnel. So the first major building of efforts to build the strategic corridor between Kashmir and Ladakh, which is open through the year. Narendra Modi said that it will be slated to inaugurate on January 13. The tunnel is under the Gambal district. Just remember the locations. It can be asked as a current affair that where the Z Mora tunnel going to inaugurate, what was the place, district to keep the tourism destination Sonmarg open for visit around the year. This will be the first visit to Kashmir since an elected government took over the reins of Union Territory and security assessment of project was done. Then PM full security will be set up. There's a many tunnels of Atal Rohtang tunnel, Atal Pass, and that connecting the Srinagar and Ladakh and Himachal. There's a many tunnels, and there's an inauguration of one more tunnel, is Z Mora tunnel. About so now moving to the next one about the environment related news. The protests continue to Indore over the Union Carbide waste disposal plan in Pithampur. So here is the about the protested in Indore against plan to dispose. Basically it was from the last recent news about the carbide waste disposal in the MP, because that methyl carbide tragedy that happens that led to the many carbide wastes that is very hazardous for environmental impact. So here the resident of Indore, Madhya Pradesh, financial capital and its surrounding area, the protesters gathered 30 km, Pithampur in Dhar district, about 30 km from the city. So the resident of Indore, the protests gathered here. Here the people are protesting that the waste will create a Bhopal gas tragedy type incident that was triggered, and it was a world worst industrial disaster that was in the last week for incineration. The people are protesting that should be done away from the city. So here's only demand is that the waste of the Union Carbide factory should not be burnt in Pithampur, so that the Malwar region of the Western Madhya Pradesh United Kisan Morcha in the body, and they are demanded been trying to raise the awareness that people through the demonstration. He said Union Congress President Syam Sundar Yadav said that state government says Union Carbide waste is not poisonous, then why was it not disposed of Bhopal itself? The waste should be taken to Pokhran located in Rajasthan Dhar district and buried there. So the representative here, the labor, social farmer organization, Gandhi activists also participate in this protest. As the protests continue from the very many weeks like. So moving to the editorial is the we need accessibility rule that based on the principle. One editorial that was, I don't feel so much that there is informations, but you can study for the means writing that you can get somehow you can use it here. Supreme Court in the Rajiv Rotari versus Union of India 2020 held the right of person with disabilities with the disability rules 2017 that violating of the right of person with disability act 2016. Basically, let me open that page. So I basically just give the summary of that editorial, because editorial is very big. If I read line by line, it will take a lot of time. So here the new accessibility rule must be direct, understandable and practical, ensure the effective implementation. So here the court reasoned that the rule was drafted in disclaiming corresponding sections of 40, 45, 46 that impose the mandatory obligation of government. It was key example of Ministry of Housing Urban creating a barrier-free environment. Ministry of Road and Transport Highway Bus Body Code, other accessibility established by Ministry of. Here the court observed the guidelines that which is unethical to the Mandatory Language Act. The rule of 15 also mean that accessibility guideline notified under the rule lost their statutory authority. Here it is written. This judgment strike reminded how accessibility of guidelines have been created in silos without identification of normative principle. The court deliberated the detailed differences between accessibility, accommodation, and reasonable accessibility and reasonable accommodations. Here the reasonable accommodation both originate within the principle of substantive equality. Accessibility is now accepted as a right woven throughout the United Nations Convention on the Right of Persons with Disabilities. Conversely, reasonable accommodation is a facilitator of substantive equality, whereas the specific challenges are dealt with the specific, and therefore both are standards meet. Conversely, where accessibility build edifies through the standardized accessibility, individual who might still face inaccessibility in a specific context. Here the RPDW Act defines barrier in broadest from possible, where intangible barriers such as, here it is written, such as altitudinal barriers are recognized in addition to tangible barriers, infrastructure. So the accessibility is understood with the physical and digital ecosystem. This is necessary to involve the accessibility parameter must also inside the disability understanding truly inclusive. Disability may arise as high cognitive workload, causing inability to focus, control emotions, temporarily broken limbs, inability to ramps to pregnant mother age-related complication, etc. So here the section 48 of RPW Act mandates that central state government undertake the social audit general schemes programs ensure they do not have adverse effect on social person with disabilities. That social audit plays a vital role in developing and strengthening the accountability of government and services provider. Regular social audit schemes provided the technologies person with disability can assess the bottleneck in the delivery of services, identify the changing needs individual. How RPD rules that there is no clarity on the scope and methodology of social audits. This might lead to inconsistency among the center and state and lack of awareness. So here the rules have to be understand, like instance of sporting complex has a multiple guidelines from the affairs, housing, transport, others. So the new accessibility rule, like accessibility guidelines, is must be subject to extensions. There's a necessity for diverse both private and public beyond the social. That this is just not a warranted by legislative mandate of RPW Act, but also a incentive tap to the accessible product and services. summary is that there was a must RPD act that is must be based on the social audit so that they can be understandable by the proper rules and regulation to both the state and center, so that they have a, a role in developing and strengthening their accountability. I also don't understand that all very clearly, but I'm just read out the 2 or 3 times for so that I can give you a better explanation. But uh, but you can read yourself if you don't understand through this. So moving to the next is the section 152 of BNS should not become a proxy of sedition. So here the one case about the Rajasthan High Court. Rajasthan High Court, Tejendra Pal Singh versus Tejendra Singh Pal versus State of Rajasthan 2024. So here the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, a tool that stifles the legitimate dissent. In 2022, before the BNS was enacted, the Supreme Court had suspended the pending criminal trials and court proceeding to the section 124 is sedition of Indian Penal Code. Indian Penal Code until the government reconsidered this law. This was followed by a verbal proclamation that the Home Minister that sedition would repealed as an offence. Here the sedition will be repealed as an offence. Section 152 of BNS criminalized that any act exciting sessions, armed rebellion and subversive activities. It also criminalizes the encounter encouraging the feeling of separatism or endangering the sovereignty, unity and integrity of India. So BNS does not formally use the term sedition. The Rajasthan High Court recent the decision hints that spectre of sedition still looms large in BNS. So here the section 152 BNS criminalizes that sovereignty. Here the 3 words: sovereignty, 1 minute, that sovereignty, unity and integrity of India, initiating a legal action against a person. In this the render provision of vague and unable to expensive interpretation by enforcement authorities. The political figure sympathizing with the controversial public figure abuse may be caused stifle of criticism. So the second term knowingly in the section 152 that lowers the threshold for the commission's offence, especially in the context of social media, even if the person does not have malicious intent. Activities of feeling prohibited under 152, they can still be considered liable for the offence if they share the post knowing that they will reach a larger audience. Or they post unknowingly that it will reach a larger audience, provoke such activity of feeling, then they would be sufficient to arrest a person under section 152, which is cognizable and non-bailable. So the lack of statutory requirement to prima facie establish here the Sedition Act provisional clearly bore out that national crime record regarding the 124 of IPC, and out of 548 person arrested. Here's the data about the section 154 after allowing the BNS Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita before implementing in the 2020 before 2022 Indian Penal Code that don't legalize so many things. But here, if the India's unity, sovereignty and integrity will try to dishearten, there is endangering. If anyone tries to endangering, even there is a feeling or intent to showing anything offense in the, especially in the context of social media, to gain some media like attracting larger then they will be created as a such activity of feeling can be sufficient to arrest a person, because it is consequable and also non-payable if it comes under the section 152. So they have such power that is unable to abuse, much like procedure. Chilling effect on potential to instill the decisions of the. There is a data about that section 140 IPC, out of 548 out of between 2015 and 2020 for sedation, only 12 people were um, 12 people were convicted in 7 cases. So here you can, but in comparison to the section of 152 of BNS, unfortunately, the NCRB data, the benefit of hindsight regarding the abuse of section 124 seems to have no bearing in designing the contours of section 152 of BNS. So how the past judiciary has consistently adopted a sequential interpretation to strike a careful balance between the national interest and the freedom of expression. Here you can see that there is a balancing of the strike balancing between the national interest and the freedom of expression. You have a freedom of expression, but in the limitations, in the seeking that did not harm the sovereignty, unity, and integrity of India. Section 152 is so much powerful that even there was many cases, but many less were recorded, which was done by the NCRB, National Crime Record. The Supreme Court has given a weight to actual consequences or impact the free of speech in determining the offence rather than considering the speech on its own. For instance, Balwant Singh and State of Punjab 1955. Here, the court drew a line repercussion of Javed Azam was a state of Maharashtra, and also the Kedarnath Singh was a state of Bihar, and his difference in disloyalty toward the government from strongly worded criticism on government and its policies. Here the lack in builds the safeguarding sections to prevent its abuse. These interpretations should be guided. Moreover, the Supreme Court also get earliest. So here the case to arrest the DK Basu versus West Bengal. This is that provision not become proxy for offence seditions. So here always accepted that the test of truth will always be potential and any idea to get accepted. Democracy a diverse society. So just ending this tutorial here, moving to the next. So the India is open to the free of dual citizen. Here the two writers giving their views about should the India have the idea of dual citizenship. Like here the without said that there is event of external justice. Minister said that there is a lot of challenges in providing dual citizenship to India because settles in abroad. He pointed that overseas citizenship India step toward meeting the demands that's still alive. India today. So there's a sorry, excuse me. So here the part 2 deals the section on citizenship. Article 5 of Constitution defines who is a citizen, either by the birth or by the parentage acquiring it after having the remained a resident of India. There is also a distinction between being a domicile and being a citizen. You may be domiciled in India, yet you're not to be citizen. You're not to be citizen. This was determined by Supreme Court of D.P. Joshi. D.P. Joshi versus State of Madhya Bharat Citizenship Act 1955. There is only major amendment Citizenship Act come in 2019. I don't think that it can really be a serious substantive and questions to allow people. So in the other words, citizen of US, UK and Australia, for example, would have only a political loyalty. to those country, but also right to vote in India. But also the right to vote in India, that was frankly for me extremely dangerous idea, because as an Indian citizen, I would not be willing to give political rights to anyone with divided loyalties, because after all, dual citizenship means that you have divided the loyalties. Basically, true, it is not good for the India, because it here the if they're dual citizen means there is a barrier of the loyalties, that if you give the vote here, and we are not ready to have a dual citizen in country, because a person who is living with the idea of global citizenship in larger sense, but in the term which political dispensation will govern India, not share right to anyone who has but 100% political loyalty. So personally, the option of acquiring Australian citizenship, the only reason I did take that, it was to mean reclaiming the Indian citizenship. So writer here talking that India should loyalty should not be divided, because he is all full of right, political rights, economic rights, etc. And US there is a people of Indian origin, but who will be holding the office. So if the writer views opinions here, you can read this article if you want. So next, moving to the last article, I think, the damage control. 1 minute, I think I am lifting one page. No, it was covered. Okay, so this one is damage control. Here about the impact of earthquake that held in the Tibet region of the 7.1 magnitude, where 128 killed, where the 9,000 damage killed. Still bubble earthquake felt in Nepal as well as part of Bihar and New Delhi, the epicenter, where I have given a detail about this, how what is the causes there can be, what how the reasons, how the dam project is maybe the reason can, what are the epicenters reasons, how it will cover in the whole region, but still there is some short corners, so I am covering this. Scientists have long warned massive over the due to earthquake in Kharwal Kumaon range, because of what is known that pattern suggests that you have occurred here. There is 8 magnitude temporary overdue. In the context infrastructure development, basically infrastructure development in Himalaya region must be viewed. The several projects are good, but recurrent landslide, glacial lake wash away the dams, hydropower project, roads serve, constant development, infrastructure change, these all landslides in that kind of region can cause earthquake. There is epicenter, there is a roads severe, constant reminder, inherent fragility can be taken as a Indo-Himalayan, but in the surrounding Indo-Gangetic plain can go along in limiting inevitable damages. So moving to the next is winter contest about the Delhi elections that is going to be held on the 5th Feb between the incumbent of AAP and BJP. The contest is most popular in the nation capital and struggling to regain at least part of its capital. Delhi is not full-fledged state and it's unique, convoluted in governance. Still, there is a national and BJP dominated since 2012. There is a voter in Delhi swung overwhelmingly BJP elections. So BJP is a full of double engine government. Here that is trying to pitching the full double engine government, so that they will put the end to tussle between the two powers control in Delhi. The election is likely to bring concerning the integrity. Central state will be same, that will be more easy to govern there. Basically they create a tussles between them. So just let's have a summary of the today's new editorial news analysis. Let's have a quick summary covering from the front page about the same-sex marriages, rejection, diaspora of the Indian diasporas, Indian Bloc Congress Delhi polls. The 10th January Bharatiya Pravasi Divas held at Janta Maidan Bhubaneswar. That's why I mentioned here. So second one is about the chief writers Paresh violating the election code, both the alleging about their violating the elections rules. Wildfires reach out in control of Los Angeles. Human genome about the 6th generation aero engine. fifth slides read about the we cover the jet model tunnels, carbide waste in the plan in Pitampur. One editorial about the accessibility rule based on the principles. Second one editorial is dual ideal citizens opinion. One is about the section 152 of BNAs. And ninth one is about the damage control and Delhi elections. So now I'm concluding the today's editorial. I know today I'm uploading this video very late. I just got stuck. Next time I will try to upload till then 10 p.m. So thank you so much. So let's meet tomorrow with tomorrow editorial. Till now, good night. And 1 minute. Thank you.